Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Rideshare Rodeo audio podcast, also being displayed on YouTube and other things. But thank you guys for making it the number one downloaded gig economy podcast out there. Appreciate you. And we have some guests today. We have the two co-CEOs. I don't know if you're co-founders too, so I'm going to not step. Okay,
yeah.
Co-founders, co-CEOs of GiGU. If you guys haven't heard of GiGU, we have Luis and we have Pedro, and obviously they both have the same title and they both have the founder and the CEO portion. So I don't know how you guys all do that. I know a lot of companies that have these co-founders, co-CEOs. Seems like it'd be a little bit of a nightmare, but as long as you guys are great friends, I'm sure it works out great.
Yeah.
But you want to give the audience first, in case they haven't. I'm sure some people have seen your name out there, they've heard it. Just kind of what you've been doing. I know you guys started outside the U.S. market, but you're now in the U.S. market. So do you want to give people an idea of what they should know about GiGU? Give us a little walkthrough on the app. And
Sure. So GiGU is a smart copilot for gig workers. So we have two tools that basically deliver better income and more safety for drivers, especially. So when they download our app, they do like a very simple setup. And when these platforms like Uber, Lyft, or Dash, whatever, when they start offering rides and jobs, we analyze that information and we help them to select the rides that they should or should not accept. We allow them to cherry pick way more intelligently and basically boost their profits. And we also transform the cell phone into a dashboard camera. They don't have to buy an external camera, just use their own cell phones as a dash camera to record everything that's going on.
So if I can jump in at that point, because there is a question I have on that alone. I mean, the data cost of constant dash cam while also running all these apps you're eating up a lot. So is it more of a dash cam on demand?
Yeah, it's exactly like this. What we've seen all around is that many times we have a passenger and you start to get into a disagreement with the passenger, right?
Sure.
So it's not like a regular dash camera that you're recording 24/7 to protect you on things regarding traffic and whatsoever. It's basically by protecting you from not getting banned from.
Okay. And then Pedro, the last time I saw you, we had a meeting a few months back. You were on a beach with a short sleeve shirt on, and now you're in winter gear. I don't even know where you are. I feel like you're locked in a freezer or something because it's July.
First of all, thank you very much, Steve, for the space. Yeah, it's winter, and I'm in Rio de Janeiro at my house, and it's probably like 15 degrees, and I don't know in Fahrenheit how much it is, but it's cold. And in Rio de Janeiro, it's like almost like snowing.
It's so crazy. It is so crazy because I do production work too. I've done work down in Rio. I've done work all over South and Central America, and it's so crazy to go places when it's like 150 degrees here, and then you get somewhere else and it's just not the same old story. But so you guys are now in the US. I know you started in Brazil, and part of me has to wonder, was part of your initial concept of reason for starting this because, and I'm not trying to make it out to be anything worse than it is, but Brazil can be a very violent place. And we have a lot of violence here in the rideshare community, especially, but it's even fallen over to food delivery and other things like that. It's gotten kind of ridiculous. But I think I'd feel safe to say there's even more violence against drivers in Brazil than in the United States. Not necessarily for any specific reason, just carjackings, things happening, whatever.
Yeah. Crime-related things, I would say that you're right. But on like regular sorts of problems with passengers, it's pretty much the same.
Right. I'm trying to get a feeling of why you guys got into this space. What made you go, you know what, why do these people have to go through this?
Oh, okay. So it started a couple of years ago, and Pedro and I were like high school friends, and we basically setups our careers, and at a certain point we decided to become entrepreneurs. So Pedro did his first startup. I did my first few businesses as well, and then we started talking about business opportunities. And one day he said, "I need to have a cup of coffee with you, man. I can't stop thinking about something here." And I said, "Yeah, come, let's have this. So what's going on?" And he asked me, "Have you ever thought how hard the life of an Uber driver is?" And to my shame, I must say that at the time I said, "I have no clue." And then we created like a survey on a notebook, and we hopped onto more than 100 Uber rides in Rio, interviewing drivers, and actually amazed us how little we knew about their everyday struggles. We thought, "Oh man, bathrooms must be a huge problem." And this, okay, it is a problem, but it's way more problematic the way that they feel so lonely working these long hours by themselves with no contact with other drivers, no peer-to-peer connection to, I have a question here, can you help me out? They don't have that. And
even a false embracement of like a human resources is gone.
Exactly.
I mean, it's gone. It's not even lacking. It's absent.
It's totally gone. And sometimes these guys had like a previous job, or like worked at an ordinary office. They had people by their side here and there, but now they're by themselves all the time. So I mean, we were mind blown about that, and all other things like safety, and not only because Rio and Sao Paulo are not very safe cities because of crimes, but this sort of unbalanced relations with the passengers. Like for the platforms, the passenger is always right? Oh, they say that the driver did X, Y, and Z, and it's the truth. And we thought that this was so unfair to drivers. And the more we talked about that, we saw ourselves at certain points doing these interviews and say, "You know what? Just give me your phone number. We don't know what we're gonna build, but we're gonna build something for you guys."
Sure.
And at the time, like September 4th, 2017, we launched a one-stop shop operation where we rented an underused parking lot, and we built like a space for drivers to gather, exchange experience, to have lunch, and a car wash, and a barbershop, and it was like a mini mall for drivers. And it was amazing how it scaled so fast. And we ended up having 12 locations like this in Rio. We were opening the first 2 locations in Sao Paulo when the pandemic hit, and we had to close everything.
Oh, you did fully close it?
Yeah.
Okay. So I need to ask, during that process, during that time, did you ever outreach to Uber? Did you ever say, "Hey, we want to talk to you"? Did they ever sit down with you? Did they have anybody from the team? Did they ever reconnect with you at least? Did they do anything?
Yeah, at the time we thought, they have this space at our international airport here in Rio. And we said, "You know what, you have this space, but you have like 2 like big containers. One is like a lounge, but it's actually like a container full of chairs.
Sure.
And the other one's like a bathroom that was clean every 3 days. So can you imagine like having
like a rest area bathroom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a restroom, but it was super filthy. I mean, because of the amount of people using it and the lack of cleaning that it had.
So did they have any personnel on hand at these, or were they just kind of there for the drivers?
It was there for the drivers.
Okay.
But basically what we told it at the time said, "You know what, you have this space. Why don't you let us run it? Because we do it really well, and drivers will be more happy about it. They'll be more engaged. Look what we built in this space and this other space. So we put this infrastructure here. They can eat, and with like a decent table and chairs and so on. And we have coffee." And I kid you not, what they said to us at the time was, "No, this is not going to move forward, guys. We don't want drivers to have a cool lounge and stay here. We want them driving."
Yeah.
And we wanted to build community.
Well, I was going to ask you
And we
too.
didn't want that.
So Pedro, like, I mean, at the time, were they also kind of figuring out, wait a minute, you guys are doing something here on the side too. You're going to get in our drivers' heads and be telling them that they need safety and they need some filtering devices that could help them. And we're not okay with that. So maybe we don't want you around.
Yeah, it was that for sure. I think that Uber doesn't want the drivers to build communities and connect with each other.
No, they don't at all.
Yeah.
In fact, I can tell you one thing about the United States market. They love, this has always bugged me. They love all the different YouTube channels and different, spaces, whether it be TikTok or the audio podcast, where on My Land and like some of these other spaces where they literally, I've talked to people who they love it that every market is putting out different information, because all the fights then happen between different channels and stuff and not between who it should be happening with, which is Uber. They're like, you guys all take it out on each other. Somebody in Boise, Idaho says this, and then over in California, they're saying this, and in New York, and they're saying this. So you guys all fight, and you're taking all the weight off our hands.
Yeah, you're totally right.
Yeah.
And
I tell you what, like in Brazil and the US, it's all the same. It's same problems that the drivers face in Brazil, they face in the US, and it seems that they face the same thing in the whole world.
Right. So it is a safety feature. I'm very good friends with Gary Middleton. I know you guys met him on Show Me the Money Club. Yeah. Gary's been around for a long time too, and he always brags about his apps being for safety. Yours are for safety too. These are, I mean, this is to make sure you're not in the middle of an intersection. Like, who does it make sense to that you get 30 to 60 seconds to accept a food offer, but you have 3 to 5 seconds to accept a rideshare offer in the middle of an intersection? So you guys, I know, have filters. You have different things you can put on there. I do know that you, can we go through the apps at least that are tied with GiGU? The apps that drivers, I know that before I talked to Pedro about potentially even other brands that aren't on there right now could be down the road, but what are the primary apps that are available that people could be using GiGU if they do these platforms?
In the US, we have Uber, Lyft, DoorDash, Grubhub. Help me, Luis. There's one more.
Uber Eats, is that?
Uber Eats.
Yep.
And we're doing Spark and other platforms that we're opening up.
Oh, you do have Spark on it too. Okay. So people can correct me at any point if I'm wrong. People can set their perimeters. Like I don't, can you like knock out neighborhoods altogether that you don't want to go to? Can you gray out areas? Mm-hmm. Can you set some real perimeters in the app of what you won't do so that it doesn't even show to you?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
So right now we filter based on the price per mile and the price per hour.
With no other, it's just that. It's just, listen, set your prices that you guys are accustomed. Because again, they're going to pull up to the person, and every driver, I need to say this might not be your guys' belief, but every driver has the right to cancel right on the spot. And if you're feeling weird about it, that is my advice. Cancel. If you feel sketchy about something, cancel.
Yep.
Yeah.
So,
totally.
But okay, moving on with the price part. So you set the price.
Yeah, you set the parameters, like the filters of what would be like a good offer, what would be a medium offer, what would be a bad offer. Okay. And then when these platforms do like a trip, or we analyze that, and in 0.6 seconds, we show that in colors. Like green is good, yellow, maybe it's good, take another look. Red, like refuse it, it's a bad offer for you.
So it's coming up on their screen still, and it's saying this is a red one. This doesn't meet your parameters.
Yeah, we show the calculations, like how much it is paying per mile and how much it is paying per hour, and also the passenger amount ratings. Of stars. Yeah, the rating. And we show that in this rectangular or this box, it has like the border is in colors, always like green, yellow, or red.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a smart color grading system.
And are we still, and this it's not on you guys, it's on all, because I know it's a nightmare headache, but are we still on Android only?
Yes.
Is that way so far off in the distance that you don't even like discussing iPhone, or is that something that could be attainable? I've actually
discussed a
worked
lot.
with companies, and I've had to submit
Yeah.
things to.
Mhm.
I understand the difference. It's huge. It's very hard to get an app on the App Store.
Yeah, I don't think it's that much far off. Just the solution that we found on the iPhone, it does use a lot of data and a lot of the hardware. So it's
Okay.
like doing a video call 24 hours. So that's a lot of data that you're using, and that's a lot of the process of the phone that you're using.
So you
So I
could
think
even
that the
actually
timing-
potentially put a lag on your offers that's making it so that they're coming in later than they should.
Yeah. We're
Perhaps.
very focused on experience. So the experience that we would deliver in the iPhone is still not good yet.
Okay. But I mean, I know you guys are aware of Flight, whatever it is, where you can have a beta version going, and I'm sure you've tried it. But so people can set these. Can we? I'm not even sure if Sergio and Chris did this with you guys, but can we get into whatever happened with the FTC? Because this is stuff I hit on all the time. I hit on all the legislative stuff and all this stuff. And I'm just very interested in what happened down there in Brazil, because you guys had, if I understand it correctly, a win, which is very rare when we are dealing with these companies.
Yeah, what happened here, like the whole story was that Uber filed a lawsuit against us here, and then we fought back.
Can I ask what the lawsuit was like? What was it for? What was it?
What with the grounds? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So basically, they said that we were stealing data from passengers, that we were putting the drivers in danger for exposing data, and also what else?
You're responsible for all the rejections that the drivers were having.
Oh yeah.
And the wait time on the passengers was our fault.
Yeah, that we were responsible for the criticisms that the platform has been receiving for cancellations, which is, I mean, ridiculous. If people are canceling, they're not using our tool, right? Because they only accept with our tool, with GiGU, they only accept the rides that they want to do. So why would they cancel afterwards? It makes no sense. But they said that we were stealing the pictures from passengers, which is something that they don't even show for drivers. And lastly, that we were engaging in unlawful competition with them.
So wait, when they say capturing pictures, are you mean like, because this is something drivers, we all want this. We don't want to be picking up somebody where the title is demand. Doesn't even have a real name, and it's gold-plated teeth right up close, and no face. I don't want to pick up that person.
But,
so were you finding? Was there an actual? Is that what you're talking about? An actual picture of the passenger?
No.
They were lying. Yeah,
they were lying.
Oh, okay. That wasn't even a good claim. Okay.
It's still like it is in the US. They don't show the passenger picture for the driver.
Yeah. So. I mean, I have always thought they should watch it with the frivolous stuff, but for years they get away with this. So they file this lawsuit against you. You guys decide we'll fight this. Not many people do. You decide we'll fight this, and then what happens?
So when they filed this lawsuit, they asked the judge for an injunction, basically saying, "Look, these guys are jeopardizing my operations in Brazil. So why don't you give us an injunction, basically prohibiting them to offer these tools?" While we discuss this in court. And this judge, I mean, I cannot blame the judge, because basically we were unknown for the majority of the population. We were very well known among drivers, but among passengers and regular people, nobody knows about us, right? Nobody knew, at least. And then just said, yeah, I know Uber. My kids use Uber. I use Uber. Yeah, let's give the injunction. And we had to appeal that. This is when we created basically a manifesto with drivers. Like, we got more than 70,000 drivers.
Signatures.
Sorry?
Signatures.
Yeah, signatures, basically saying that they were against this lawsuit, and they were up. They got us our back in this, and we appealed that, and we won afterwards in the Court of Appeal.
Was the win in the appeals court due to the fact that you have the signatures?
I think that everything helped. We had some sort of driver unions as well that basically approached entered this lawsuit saying, I'm an interested part in this lawsuit. I need to be there as well. So we had a lot of support for, and we owe drivers in Brazil everything that we achieved, everything that was successful in this lawsuit. We owe the drivers, and of course, are very good lawyers, but the drivers were incremental for this.
Yeah, and what happened then, and I'm seeing that in the US, Lyft did that. Uber sent like emails and messages to all the drivers in Brazil saying that if you use third-party apps, you can be banned from the platform. So trying to tell them indirectly that if you use GiGU, you would be banned. But we were very successful to fight that back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're using this app. Did anybody ever get statistics? Because I mean, this is where it always gets super cloudy with me, because I'm like, they're never going to be honest, even if they do have to produce information. I've always wondered how you, even if it came down to it, how do you audit a company as ugly as the Uber algorithm? And how do you audit an algorithm? And how do you trust that algorithm when the people behind it are some of the most shady people on earth? So I've got all these questions, but did it ever come down to like Uber's claim about, okay, well, they're making our drivers not take as many or this? Did anybody ever look at the breakdown of, did those drivers, were they actually taking less, or were they just making smarter decisions? I'd be interested to see if the stats even changed or if they were just making better decisions.
Exactly. I mean, when we talked to the Uber people during the course of this lawsuit, we actually said, you know what, we do not understand why you guys are suing us, because from our perspective, we're helping you guys, because drivers are making more money. They will remain engaged in the platform longer, so you have like less churn of drivers. This is, I mean, why are you guys not seeing this? And basically they said, yeah, but drivers are refusing too many calls and you're bugging our algorithm. We replied, so it has nothing to do with privacy, right?
Right. Which was probably the whole claim in the first place.
Of course.
You're impeding our privacy. What are you talking about?
Yeah, it had nothing to do with data privacy. It's all about power. It's all about retaining power on top of the drivers.
So
it's all about this.
Were there any agencies involved in this outside of Uber and you guys? Because as far as I know, maybe the FTC or Brazil's version of that was involved a little bit as well.
Yeah. Afterwards, after this lawsuit started, we filed a complaint on the equivalent of the FTC, which is called CAGE, and it's the same purpose as the FTC.
It's the same. It's the Brazilian version of.
It's the Brazilian version.
Right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Exactly. Basically, the CAGE is a guardian to the balance of the economy, and it keeps on checking if something is not well balanced and needs their interference. Yes. So we filed this lawsuit, we filed a complaint, and they started investigating it, and they decided to open a formal investigation against Uber because of our complaint. So now Uber is basically giving information for 4 years ago to CAGE, all sorts of explanations they're being demanded to give.
Did you ever ask them why they weren't getting it before?
Not really.
This FTC of Brazil. I'm just asking because to me it's very crazy that they're like, oh yeah, let's get this from them. Like, why I mean, you guys are aware that there's taxi and limousines and all this other stuff out there. Why weren't I face the same question here in the US. Why haven't you why did it take waking people up 10 years later and going, hey, over there, take a look?
Sure.
Like, I mean, even all these people with the FTC or what you're talking about, they've probably taken Ubers. They've used this platform. So they're aware and they've got to be like, wait, what? Like nobody ever had a thought to their own to go, you know what, this is weird.
Yeah, I know. It makes total sense what you're saying, actually. But I think
but it took somebody like you to go, hey, what's up with this?
Yeah, that's what happened. And when we started this, the CAGE headquarters is in Brasilia, our capital, right?
Yeah.
I flew there with our attorney explain what we're going to the case we're going to build against Uber and the complaint that we're going to make. And they were completely oblivious about all of this. For them, they were mindless. They were like, oh my God, we had no idea. We had no idea that these guys would play like this.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder why, because here they know we will. Here we've got a good amount of people who have been making noise for a long time. Yeah. So to me, I'm kind of surprised, but now, so here you are. Brazil is still now. Brazil is a working market, and that lawsuit, did it have to involve your version of the FTC to get you guys the clearance you need to let you operate the way that you do down there?
So far, they're still under investigation. Next stage would be getting us this ruling that Uber would not be allowed to block us or do any damage to our operation. This will be the ultimate goal with that FTC complaint.
And are you kept in the loop of that? Do they talk to you and Pedro and say, hey, listen, we've made some advancements, we've looked into this, or are you just kind of waiting for a phone call to hear the final results?
Oh no, we talk with them all the time. Okay. Recently, we actually delivered something like 10 video testimonials of drivers, basically saying how they feel scared about getting like their account suspended or doing something bad, losing their income. Sure. How these platforms eventually became their primary income to provide for their families, and how afraid they feel and powerless in the hands of these companies. So we help them to get this 10 testimonials, and we keep this ball rolling with them all the time. Yeah.
Do you feel that the Uber and Lyft drivers specifically, right? And we'll stick with rideshare for a minute. So do you feel like that they are? Do you feel like that they make a good living in Brazil? Do you feel like they are just, and you can compare it to this market now that you're here, you understand the US market, where we got a lot of people struggling too, who multi-app, and that's how they make the difference up and whatnot. But
I think they drive to their limit. So the incentive is very clear. Uber is a public company that seeks profit. So he'll try to offer the most that the passenger can pay, and repay the least that the driver will accept. So the algorithm is very intelligent, and it will go to the limit. It won't have the driver break, but he'll be able to pay their bills, and that's it. And they'll go to the limit on what the passenger can pay. And the more they do that, the more they profit. So it's very clear.
Yeah.
We've seen a couple of things here as well, because we're working very close to gig workers in Brazil for quite a while. So we've seen the discrepancy between experienced drivers compared to new drivers. So it's a totally different ballgame. Experienced drivers, they tend to make 5, 7 times, even 10 times more. And without the same mileage, they actually drive less and they earn more money. The thing is that also what we see in Brazil, which made the perfect storm for these platforms, that we have a high unemployment rate, and also like the cost of hiring someone in Brazil is very high, right?
Yes.
If I hire you formally, you ended up costing me twice because of all the taxes that I have to pay than what actually goes in your pocket as an employee.
Oh my gosh, I think we've all said it, but I've said almost every other podcast this is episode 480. And I've said on almost every episode that, let me give you this example. In Colorado, we just gave the transparency law. So now the driver and the customer, after a ride, both see the same breakdown receipt, meaning the customer sees what the driver is paid. They see what the airport fee is, what the processing. They have to see line by line items after the ride on what that full amount. So if they paid 76 and the driver got 13, they're going to see that. And it was a really interesting way that we approached that, because they wanted us to move with a Prop 22 fashion. That's just a stupid solution. It doesn't work. So we pushed for the transparency instead. Now they're also using that in auditing the company. because they can call for any receipts at any point, and the driver and passenger or customers must match at any time. So if they call for any given receipt and it doesn't match, like, hey, you showed that the driver made more on the customer side, but not on the driver's side, and he didn't get paid more, that's like a $5,200 fine per instance. Might not sound like a lot, but they add up because they audit every 3 months. And so if they're trying to pull any kind of finagling, and it applies also to, I'm sure you guys have heard the term tip baiting. It doesn't happen as much with rideshare, but with like Uber Eats, you can put in a tip and you can remove it after the fact for 2 hours. Here, if you get the Uber Eats offer, take a screenshot, that's what you're getting paid. If Uber decides to let the customer pull back the tip, that's their call, that's their company. They can do that. They still have to pay the driver the full amount with the tip.
Yeah, and knowing about that, we have a feature in GiGU, which is the automatic print. So you can automatically print the screen of any offer, so you can later on dispute it if you need to.
Right, because I know people all the time where it's nothing really. I mean, like almost on the weekly basis, certain people I know who do full-time work could say, I had 3 incidents this week.
Yep.
Where things I was offered this, but I got paid this. Yeah. Or hey, I got to the pickup for food delivery and it was supposed to be 5.1 miles. It became 7.2. And yet these aren't even instances where the customer changes after the fact to get the price locked in. That was an old way of scamming. But these are ones where the customer location is the same, but the GPS doesn't attenuate until you get to the restaurant pickup. And then it's like, wait a minute, we got those miles wrong here. It's 2 more than we told you. What?
Exactly.
I'm doing this based on what you showed me.
Exactly. I only accept it because you showed me that it was going to work like this, and now you're changing the parameters, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. This is why we created this automatic print, because actually, since we're really close to drivers, and drivers said, I wouldn't say all of our features, but the majority of everything that we did was because drivers said, you guys, you need to do this. And this is one thing that they asked a lot for it to be on the app.
Yeah. So I got to ask you, now that you've been in the US for 6 months?
No, officially 50 days.
I'm just doing it in my head since the last time we talked, Pedro. I'm trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Is it about 6 months?
We actually launched 1.5 months ago, more or less.
Soft launch.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in that time, what are you guys seeing that's different than Brazil?
Yeah, so it seems longer because when we talked before, we didn't get that most of the drivers, they ride hail and they do delivery as well, which is something that doesn't happen in Brazil. So we had to wait and also have the delivery apps work on GiGU. So that's why it took a little bit longer than we wanted to.
Oh, so you don't run the delivery platforms in Brazil?
Yeah,
now
in Brazil.
Now we do, but in Brazil, usually the delivery guys they use motorbikes or bicycle.
Yeah.
Right. So they're just taking them, whatever, just here.
Yeah.
Just them all out. Okay.
It's very unusual for a driver to operate on delivery platforms.
Yeah. So you don't get people you don't get maybe between Lyft and Uber, but you get rideshare drivers doing rideshare only.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of it. And in Brazil, there are 3 apps, which is Uber 99, which is a Didi from China, and InDrive, which is a Russian company.
Yeah. Oh, I've had InDrive on here before. Yeah. So, yeah. But so you guys are here. Are you noticing, other than that, are you noticing any differences, or are you seeing the same kind of like breakdown and all of the data that you're seeing incoming? Is it looking a lot like the same as what you were seeing in Brazil? Those same kind of waves, same kind of issues, same kind of problems, drivers saying the same type of things? Or are you seeing something different between the countries?
Yeah, I think it's, like I said before, it's very similar, the same problems. And one of the things that we had to do in Brazil was a lot of educational, because most of the drivers, for example, think that their income is their profit. So there's a lot of education that we have to say, look, you have your operational expenses, and then you have your income. So your profit is what you use to pay your bills and everything. And for example, like cherry picking is something that most of the drivers in the world don't know that they have to do so they can earn better. So some of the things that we have to do here is educational and teach them, okay, you should cherry pick, you can cherry pick, and you'll earn much more and drive much less if you do that. So there's a lot of educational things that we have to do in the US that we did in Brazil. So we are also very maybe next week launching a tool, which is the profit calculator, which a gig worker can put how he works, and then he will know what is his profit and start being more data driven. He'll know how much he'll have to earn per day and what are the best value per hour and value per mile that he should cherry pick so he can have that profit.
Yeah.
I was going to ask if you're going to give this spoiler.
Yeah, it'll be a free tool. It's very good. Yeah.
So I mean, like here, I got to say, like I talked with some people who, some people and I believe that the algorithm, it's not like you can train it to feed you $1 million offers, but you do train it in a respect here in the United States. So like I know that these companies prey on the newbies. They love it because they get on and they think these metrics matter. Oh my God, what is this 95%? I got to be 100. I got to keep my stats up. No, you don't. Those stats, you're an independent contractor, and I fight for this all the time. They can't even be keeping those on you. We're fighting to have those removed from the apps here in this country. All of the stats, all of them, because they can't be taking them. They're honestly, in all reality, it just hasn't been challenged yet on a legal surface, but we're working on it. They're not allowed to have tiers. They can't call you this tier or that tier because you accept this many, or that's all illegal here. I don't know what it's like in Brazil, but it's all illegal here.
Yeah.
It's just
Same
nobody's
thing
put
in
them to
Brazil.
the flames yet. So
It's the same.
yeah. So I mean, an independent contractor needs to see all those details up front. All I can tell is that you guys are providing that to them, and even going a step farther and saying, hey, set your prices and allow. So I would imagine a lot of the data that you guys get back, even if it's anonymous for regions, so not specific to a driver, and I just say that as a disclaimer, but if it's specific to the region, are you seeing that? Are you able to give drivers advice like, hey, for what you're looking to earn, you might want to work these shifts? Almost like what the apps show you as like hot zones, but really when the apps are showing it to you, it's saying, hey, we'd like you to work at this time. We're going to be really busy, meaning they're not going to have as many drivers get on at that time. Doesn't mean anything about being busy. Nothing. It just means they need more drivers. Are you guys able to provide the drivers some of that data back that they're feeding in, saying, hey, part of the reason you're not getting a lot of orders with your settings is because you like working only 12 to 4 p.m. on Monday through Friday?
One thing that I'll say about this, and then I'll let Pedro put a little extra juice in this, and it's actually on our manifesto. We say that the data should be used for those who are generating the data, right? So drivers generate a lot of data, and this data should give benefit for drivers.
Absolutely.
And we're working like tirelessly on new features that will actually deliver this.
Yeah. GiGU it's very simple. We want to keep it really simple with the color grading system.
Yeah.
But as drivers start to learn that they should cherry pick and how they should cherry pick, we're gonna make the cherry picker even smarter. So that's why we call it the smart co-pilot, because it will get smarter and smarter.
You guys need to somehow incorporate cherry picking into the logo. You know what I mean? Because I'm all about it, and yet we just went through it. Every driver that comes on believes in those stats. They think that, hey, no, I need to keep my metrics high. No, you don't. You need to be, and in fact, that's what I was getting at with training the app. It's not going to deliver to you exactly what $1 million offers, but if you keep showing it, I don't take this nickel and dime stuff. I don't take these. I don't take these to here. People, I don't even think that a lot of veterans realize this. The apps do recognize that. They do stop sending you some things. It's not like you're winning. I'm not going to say that because you're still facing the apps, but it will data costs money in any aspect that they're sending it to you. So they're not just looking to shoot off data a million times. They actually have some strategy behind it, but I think they've been losing that foothold a little bit. And I think that people are getting on to the fact of like, I don't take those. And so therefore, don't send them then. What if you keep taking horrible offers, you're going to keep getting more horrible offers.
Exactly.
And they're going to treat you like you're the king of their app. Like, good job. You're killing it. You're at 98% acceptance. You're our man. You're the best guy driving out there. But really, you're probably the lowest earner.
That's the biggest lie.
It's the best driver for Uber or Lyft.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But not for himself. Yeah.
What they would call the best drivers are going to be your lowest earners.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I see it. I mean,
exactly.
That's why apps like this matter so much, because they need to see, they need to be somewhat in control of what they're doing. And with the rate that these come in, yeah, what you're doing and saying, hey, set your boundaries, and therefore it's color coded. Anything like that that helps the driver, and that's a safety issue. That's a help. That's, I mean, you know, I don't know. I think that and again, I go back to the even what is challenged across much of the country, the ABC test, which is very outdated, but the A prong stands true in every independent contractor law in every one of the 50 states in the United States, which is you must be free and clear from the hiring entity. So therefore, as soon as I take an offer from Uber, that is my customer. That is I know it's odd because you're thinking, well, it's an Uber customer. No, Uber's a digital platform that is doing nothing more than dispatching a ride to me. That's all they're doing. And in fact, when it comes down to it, they want to wash their hands from it. If something happens with that passenger and I, they don't want to get involved. So they're kind of like, well, it's your passenger. But then if they need to say it the other way, they're like, well, that's our passenger that we gave you. So they're just double talking around everything. And at the same time, these are rights that we have. You need to see all the details. You need to know what you're getting into.
And you know what? I mean, to the defense of drivers that don't cherry pick, it's very easy to fall in that hamster wheel.
Oh, yeah.
It's very easy. And this by design. I mean, they invested so much to make this app engaging in gamification and stuff like that for you to be in the Ferris in this hamster wheel. They want you in the hamster wheel.
Yeah. That's why I believe they don't care about the churn rate, meaning the number of drivers that they're onboarding, even if some just fall off the first day they do it, they don't care, but that's their bread and butter. Those are the people who are just making them bank because they're taking dollar offers.
And Steve, going back to the story that we told earlier about when we approached Uber, like back in the days when we have the physical, like one-stop shops, and this is actually what they said. If they give up, if they're like burnout, we don't care. We have tons of drivers trying to basically signing up to join the platform. So,
yeah, I mean, to me, and I've gotten this argument with many people, I think that at some point that churn rate slows down and ends. I do believe that. I mean, I know there's forever people, but I was just watching something that said 27 million working Americans are either part-time or full-time in the gig app space. 76 plus million of American workers are independent contractors, self-employed, or freelancers. 76 million is 40% of our working adults, because we only have 184 million people working in the United States, meaning that even at the 27 million that I said, that means 1 out of every 7 random people that you might line up, one of them is doing gig work.
Right.
It's insane to me. Blows my mind. That's like a reality. You know, but I mean, this is how many people are doing it. And all these people, until they become seasoned and veteran, they don't know any better. They're not, like you said, they're alone in their cars. They don't know this stuff, and they're not researching it. Maybe some are, but I can tell you when I was first onboarding and first starting all this stuff, I wasn't. I was just making the money and going through it.
Yeah.
You know, until I started going, well, this is just messed up, man.
Until the bills keep coming and it seems that the money that you're receiving is only going out and it snowballs, and it's really hard. We've seen very sad stories of drivers that just select everything and then they're bankrupt.
So I'm sure that the FTC version in Brazil is in communication with FTC of the United States. I don't know if they've already talked about this specific problem, but they should.
Mhm.
I know the FTC has some things going on with some of these gig apps and some huge lawsuits. So, I mean, they're definitely aware of some of these issues. Before we wrap up and get out of here, you guys want to give us like the overall pitch on why a driver should be using these apps? And I mean, I know we've been talking about it here, but like, you run into somebody in an elevator, you got a minute with them in the elevator. What's the pitch? They're like, you just overhear them and they're like, man, what? I have to keep above 80 and this is killing me. And you're steaming inside because you want to jump in that conversation. What do you say to that person?
Want to increase your profit? You want to increase your profit in 30% or not?
And then they turn to you and they say, but I got to keep my metrics up. There's no way to do that. If I got to keep above 90% acceptance.
Okay, but do you want to increase in 30% of profit or not?
Do you want the red pill or the blue pill?
Yeah. I mean, but I'm sure you have this discussion with people who are kind of new, who are like, but these metrics matter. Do you ever have that conversation with them?
Yeah,
actually, though, those metrics are illegal.
Yeah, basically they say, oh no, I want to be a diamond driver, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I mean, so yeah, to for what benefit? Because you're gonna get what? You're gonna get like a extra check at the end of the month.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
One thing that we notice is that actually not only we notice, but what we believe in as a company is that the more drivers are cherry picking, more power all the drivers have. Right? If these companies, they know that drivers are accepting anything, more power for them. One thing that I'll say is that we're not against profit. We know that these companies, they need to do profit. It's okay for them to do profit. It's all right. It's a capitalist world, and we like it. And we're also a company for profit. But one thing is to be for profit. Another one, completely different, is to be for profit by crushing the very people that are the foundation of your business. And this is we're totally against.
Yeah. I mean, you can't have it both ways. And that's what it always seems like to me. Listen, these independent contractors are lucky we're even throwing them work. These workers on our platform, are they independent contractors? Yeah. Do they have all the rights of independent contractors? No. You know, I mean, like literally, like that is true. If you look up, I challenge people to this every day. Look it up in your state. Look up independent contractor law. It's in the labor law of your state. Look it up. It's in there. And the first thing says free and clear, which would mean you're allowed to use this app and make sure that you're optimizing these apps correctly. You're allowed to be free and clear from all of them. They can't tell you which mapping service to take. They can't tell you which route to take. They can't tell you anything. You are the contractor. This is their choice. So they got to lay in their bed and live with it. You didn't go for an employee model because it would never work as one.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to exercise your right to be independent.
Yeah.
And like Luis said, if every driver cherry picked, the prices that the drivers get paid would increase. You know?
Yeah.
And that's why it's so powerful. And that's something that people have to teach each other. Like cherry pick. Don't accept anything that appears to you. There's a lot of crap that they send you. You should have to clear that out.
Yeah, we have a lot of drivers here now, more than I've ever seen. Even I knew about people talking about it, but now I even see it if I'm out, of people going, hey, you want me to cancel this ride and you can just pay me, and they'll come up with a number. And they almost know you paid 25. I'm making 8. Hey, you want to pay me 15? I'll cancel this ride. It's not on you. And in the, pre-pandemic, I might've said, let's stick with the app, even though this was already still going on. But now I'm all about it. I'll be like, heck yeah, man, let's do it. Like, in fact, I try and push them that way sometimes. Like, hey, I know you're getting paid nothing on this, so you want to cancel it and I'll just pay you. I'm trying to get it in their head, man. Like, you're your own business. If they're going to make you be one, take advantage of those perks. Be your own boss. Land some clients. I think that even people are scared to do that. If I do that, I could get deactivated. You could get deactivated on a day you didn't even work. So the deactivation claim can't even be used, because anybody can be deactivated for no reason in the next 5 seconds.
Exactly.
So that just isn't even a claim to me. So the best of workers still get deactivated. Some get put back on, some get put back. I've had Incognia on here, which is a security software system on pretty much all phones in the world. And I've had their CEO on, and he said that, if these companies got rid of the 10% of their worst players, he said they would actually make a profit. And I was blown away because I was like, then why don't they just do this? I mean, I'm sure there's a lot to it and a lot of layers, but at the same time, I'm thinking, man, here's the guy that they're finally hiring because he's more expensive than these other security systems. And he handles banking around the world and all these things. He's a worldwide company. And now they're hiring him, and they're going to him for security and multi-level security. And it's like, if they just did these simple changes, you'd be in the profit. Isn't that what you're really looking for your investors? So just be transparent, get rid of the bottom players, do these things. Like, I just don't get it, man. It literally blows my mind on a daily basis. And how many years we'll be at this before it's solved, I don't know. But I am thankful to companies like you who are out there and at least putting tools out there, because we are allowed to use the tools at our disposal.
Of course.
And again, if Uber wants to challenge that, guys, you're talking about, and I understand a lot of you are like, dude, I don't have the money for a lawyer and to go take Uber to court over what rights I have. And yeah, but at the same time, there's a lot of us out there that, again, you could be deactivated for no reason. If you're deactivated for using a tool that makes it safer or that you earn more, but isn't disrupting any of the work you're doing, I'm sorry, that's just what independent contractor is, and that's how they label you.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And one thing that I always say as well is that if you have these tools like ours at your disposal, why wouldn't you use them? And I mean, you can run barefoot, but it's way easier with like proper running shoes, right?
Sure.
So why wouldn't you use them? We made GiGU the price when we were discussing the price. We made it like so that the vast majority of drivers would never even think about not signing up, because we have many people saying, "Oh, you guys could charge like $20 or $30 a month," and we would say, I mean, if we make it this like $6.95, imagine everybody using it, the benefit for the whole community that this would cause, right? So this is what we're looking. This is what we're aiming.
Yeah, and I mean, it is the right, and it is the. I mean, it's insane to me that's why I was asking about, was the FTC or the Brazilian FTC alerted to any of this because I question the same thing here, because all of our drivers are at risk. They should be involved in this stuff.
Yeah.
They should be like beside themselves going, I mean, the Better Business Bureau should not be listing Uber and Lyft on there, giving them again, that's a whole nother questionable government agency, but I mean, they shouldn't be giving them the blue check mark that they're certified good companies, because they're not. I mean, Better Business Bureau should respect that and go, no, dude, we're looking to do a lot of scandalous stuff with them, actually.
Yeah.
And I mean, what should people know about downloading the app then? We should end probably with that.
Go to the Google Play Store, download it, and start your free trial.
Okay. And how long does that get them a free trial for? And
right now, 30 days. It's going to stay for 30 days until when, Peter?
Probably the end of this month, or maybe, I don't know if we're going to extend to the next, but the 30 days is going down pretty soon.
And you're in all markets in the United States?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Anywhere that they're operational.
Everywhere they're operational, but there are certain states where they don't show all the information that we need to calculate for the cherry picker to operate.
Which is unbelievable.
It's yes.
Some places they don't show like a lot of the information that the independent contractor should have.
It's
so
ridiculous.
It's
ridiculous. Like, Steve, do you want to do a ride for $20 to go where? When you accept it.
Yeah.
This is crazy. Yeah. This is unbelievable.
No, I mean, yeah, and it is. I mean, that's the whole thing. Just that's why we fought for this here. And I tell people this too. Like, they wanted Prop 22. We were close to it, to getting like that Prop 22 thing. And then once we said no, we're going to go for transparency, all of the gig apps started dumping hundreds of thousands of dollars into Colorado to fight this. They're like, wait a minute. You don't want any kind of guaranteed wage or any of this other stuff and these fake benefits. You want you want to know the transparency. You want to see all the details that you're supposed to see. We're going to have to fight that with all the money we have. You know, I'm sorry, but transparency might be an overused word these days, but it's the most accurate word in my world these days for everything. If you're not transparent, something's wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, why do you need to cover some bits of information for other people to do what you're offering them, right?
Yes.
Why you yeah.
Go ahead, Peter.
Why you only show the address during the 7-10 seconds to the card, and then you only display it again when you accept the ride? Why do you hide this information?
When you start the ride, actually.
Yeah.
Right.
So there are things that, I mean, they play with this asymmetry of information and benefit from that. I think they are fighting for that.
So I guess the walkout question I'll give you here then, because this podcast, the audio podcast, is downloaded around the world, biggest obviously in the United States, but there are a lot of people in Europe and whatnot. Are you guys looking at going to other markets as well now?
Yes, of course. We, as we said before, this is a problem that is not exclusive to Brazil, the US, or Mexico, whatever. This is a global problem. Everywhere. So it demands a global solution.
Yeah.
And we are building this to be a global solution for gig workers all around the world.
So you guys make sure that you're checking out GiGU. Again, like he said, go to the Play Store, check it out. The website is gigu.com. And okay. Just want to make sure that it's not a .io or I mean, I've been to it, but I just wanted to make sure I don't have it up right now. So I just wanted to make sure. But go to gigu.com, maybe read about it a little bit, even if like you're an iPhone user and you're like, damn it, why isn't it to me yet? At least go read about what they're doing. Because like they said, it's, you know, they're working on it. Everybody's always working on it to get it to the iPhone too, because that's the other half of the world. Half is Android, half is iPhone. So half is left out right now. But I mean, you know, I know people with multiple phones. So if you need to, and this kind of thing's worth it, some people go and get a second phone that is an Android, even if they're an iPhone user. So whatever you're doing, but give them a check out, give them a shout out on any forums or things you might see, because these are those are the kind of things, who knows, a lawmaker sees it, something sees it where they're like, what is this? And why is this secondary thing needed? Because this company isn't being transparent. What's going on? Because anything that wakes these people up is very important.
Yeah. Going back to what you just said, and what Pedro said previously about the profits, like to understand the profits of operations, what you just said, I mean, it's very easy to be confused with that, because as you said, they have one phone that's also their personal phone in their car, that they use the car to work and to get their families to a park at the weekends or whatever. But everything is mixed, right? And what we say here to all of our users in Brazil, and what do I say to our users in the US, is the more you try to look at this activity as your business, and so it has to be some things that must be a part of your personal life. So if you can, get another phone, get like an Android phone, use GiGU as just with its own cell phone, and then you can think about it as your business, right? With their own costs and their own structure that you can then balance with the amount of money that you're making out of this. Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people these days, full-timers especially that I know, are using multiple phones. And I don't mean 5, 6 where they're cheating the system. I just mean 2 where they're separating exactly what you were talking about. They're separating their life and their work life.
Yeah.
So, and if you don't work gig apps and you're just getting onto them now, realize that when I say that and you're like, why would you need to do that? You'll soon learn, because they beep, they go off all the time. There's things happening all the time, and you miss them if you don't have those beeps and alerts on. So you got to have them on with all the apps, or else you're going to miss out on things. So it's just what it is.
Yeah. I think you can make good money working with these apps, but you need to be smart. You need to make smart decisions.
Right? Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you both. Thank you, Luis. Thank you, Pedro, for joining us. Thank you, audio podcast listeners. Thank you, YouTube people, and all the other platforms this will drop in segments on. And I'm sure we'll be having you guys back, because I don't see that you're not coming to a conclusion here. And Uber, I've been around doing this for a long time. Uber's not going to start being a fourth-rate company tomorrow. They didn't find a moral compass in the corner this week and go, you know what, here it is. Like, they broke that thing and shattered it a long time ago, you guys. So we got to start looking for companies like these doing good things. So even if you aren't able to use them at the moment, shout them out, give them props, tell other people, get the word out. We're a community here, and I think that the more noise we make, the more changes happen. So,
right,
totally agree, Steve. Thank you very much for having us. It's a pleasure.
Hey,
really.
Thank you,
thank
guys.
you, Steve.
We'll see you soon.
See ya.
Have a good one, everybody.
You too. Peace.
Bye bye.
She was just a baby.